Hello and welcome to ALL32. My name is Arabia, and here we talk all things football. Today we have the highly esteemed co-host with us, Champ Bailey. How are you, Champ?
I am great. How are you? Good to have
I'm
you
doing
back. With us
fantastic.
healthy. Look like you're breathing, so everything looks great.
Yes, I was going through it the previous week, so I'm happy to be here. Happy to be
Okay, good,
back in
good,
full
good.
form. Yes, thank you. So, um, 25% off Fanatics right now. I told you guys I would let you know after they got the free shipping out the way. 25% off of Fanatics. Use the All32 link in the description box and use code NUTMEG. Pause. I don't know what I'm pausing, but nutmeg just seems pause worthy. Don't ask me what it is, but we pausing nutmeg just to
Uh,
cover our bases. All right. Use code NUTMEG for 25% off Fanatics. Also, Champ, it's Accountability Tuesday. So, I have my Friday prediction show. This is my first show of the week, so I come in and hold myself accountable for my picks. So, last week I went 10-4 in my picks, which was way better than the
that's
previous
amazing.
week. Yeah, I think it was pretty good. So the 4 games that I got wrong, 2 of them were division games. Vikings Bears, I predicted the Vikings. Bears won. And Panthers Falcons, I said the Falcons were going to win. Panthers won. And then Chiefs Broncos, I was trying to give the Chiefs the benefit of the doubt from being this championship caliber team and knowing how to win when they really, really need to. Because right now they really, really need to. But man, the
Yeah.
Broncos had other plans. The Broncos really did have other plans. Chiefs lost that game. And then Jags Chargers. I said the Chargers were going to win, but I know the Chargers have been very tumultuous. They're kind of up and down this season. Sometimes
Yeah,
they
you
show
don't know what you're
flashes.
getting. Yeah,
You really don't know what you're getting with the Chargers. They're a box of chocolates from Forrest Gump. You never know what you're going to get.
yeah.
So Jags ended up winning that game. Those are the 4 games that I got wrong. Right now, my overall score is 37-19. Still kind of not but
That's not bad though.
it's not bad. But we can, if we get more of these 10-4 weeks, we can definitely make that look a lot better. All right, let's get into our first segment, Rookie Watch. Today is a unique situation because we're actually talking about 2 rookies. The first rookie we're talking about is Shedeur Sanders. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I have not spoken about Shedeur Sanders this entire year,
Yeah,
even though the media has been speaking about him, even though he had never even touched the field. I mean, he's probably the most popular backup at that point, the most popular backup in the NFL without ever having
right.
played. So now we're finally at the point where we can talk ball when it comes to Shedeur Sanders in the NFL. So I said something on It Is What It Is on Monday, and basically being like, it's very normal for backup quarterbacks not to get reps with the ones. And, this is
Yep.
something that I had spoken about in the past. And once again, it was, she don't know what she's talking about, but I'll ignore it. So yeah, backup quarterbacks generally don't get reps with the ones. Now, the reason why this situation was a little convoluted is because Joe Flacco was a starting quarterback for the Browns to start the season, right? Backup quarterback at that point was Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel was getting reps with the ones. And Kevin Stefanski said that it's because Joe Flacco is a veteran, knows what he's doing, and the
Yeah.
backup rookie needs some of those reps just in case he has to come into the game.
So you just
That's
proved the
what's
point. There you go.
that's what's weird.
Yeah.
That's the point that's weird because you really do want, even though that's a veteran, he knows how to make his reads, he knows kind of how to go through suppressions. You still want him to have as many reps with those wide receivers, have his cadence be down with that offensive line, gel as much with that offense as possible, not for the backup rookie. And if you do that, you have to have that same energy when your next QB2 is also a rookie. And Shedeur Sanders never had reps with the ones. That is what I think I mean when I say it's weird that Shedeur never got reps with the ones. Not because he's a backup, but because when Dylan Gabriel got them when he was QB2. So
Yeah.
what's your assessment on that situation?
Well, all right. I was happy to see Shedeur finally get a shot. Unfortunately, it didn't go that well. But I mean, he's a rookie with not a lot of snaps with the ones, as we just discussed. Now, I understand where the coach is coming from. There's so much more to playing the quarterback position than just uh, going through progressions. Understanding the language. There's so much more nuance to it. For example, just taking the snap, handing the ball off, going through those steps and getting a feel for that. So as a veteran, you would probably give him more leniency Plus, he's probably not going to practice every single day as old as he is, right? Like it is what it is. So he probably has some familiarity with that offense, that system, that language that gives you the opportunity to give the rookie some snaps. Now, I gotta imagine at some point they didn't ever anticipate putting Shedeur in the game, but once he was elevated to backup, maybe you should have given him some reps. Maybe that's something they regret. I don't I don't just believe that they were neglecting him. I don't want to believe that they were because they still want to win games. So if that paramounts everything, then you would think if they needed to get him ready, then they would have. Now, a rookie needs every rep plus more. So I understand their point in that. Now, we can speculate all we want. Ultimately, let's talk about what we're gonna do going forward. Is he starting coming up next week? Is Gabriel back? Like what do so that can sort of give you a good read on where he really stands because if he don't take reps after what just happened coming up, I don't care if he's starting or not. Like he better start getting some reps. I don't anticipate Gabriel will be able to practice until later in the week.
Right.
So with the day off today, tomorrow practice, like you got to be getting him ready because if he's next man up, he has to be ready, especially when you got a big question mark in Gabriel's health. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of questions right now, but at the same time, they're under a microscope with how they handle him moving
Yeah.
forward.
They definitely are. And I have to say, the Browns having now gone through three quarterbacks this season, and the first one got benched and shipped away to another team. Second
Yeah.
one gets injured, but was still dealing with some, like struggling while he was in, taking sacks, having to check the ball down because nothing was developing downfield. My
Yeah.
whole thing is just we have to understand that the Browns offense, regardless of the quarterback, was struggling, whether it was scheme or talent, whatever it was. So putting Shedeur in wasn't going to be a fix. It's barely
No.
a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. So, and then the type of player that we know Shedeur to be, even from college, he loves to move the ball downfield. That means he's holding on to the ball for longer. He's waiting on plays to develop downfield, and if they're not, he's not necessarily the most mobile quarterback. I mean, he might sometimes can be shifty, but he really does love moving the ball downfield, and so he's checking it down a lot, just like Dylan Gabriel was. So, just be fair in your assessment. Yes, as a backup quarterback, the expectation, whether you get in reps with the ones or not, the expectation is that you're going to come in having gotten those mental reps and perform. We see that throughout the league all the time. So accountability is there for him. But at the same time, we got to be realistic about the offense that he inherited coming into that game.
Yeah, man. They, like you say, their offense stinks. They got one bright, they got a bright spot in the running back. Yeah, but
Yes.
but that's it.
Yeah.
And to think any rookie's gonna come in there and be productive, I mean, come on, man. You got to be real. It's
Got to
a
be
grown
realistic.
man's game, and without experience and preparation, or both, like you're not gonna do much.
Yeah, yeah. Very, very true. And so the second rookie that we're talking about today is Keon Coleman. I sort of touched on this again on It Is What It Is, but I wanted to have a conversation with you, Champ, to see what you thought about this. Keon Coleman was benched, and Sean McDermott was very vague about it ahead of the Bills game. Like before the game, he was like, look, his benching is not performance based. He actually had a really strong week of practice. We just want to see more from him. And so everyone's like kind of speculating about what that means. And my whole thing is like, it's got to be off field things, whatever it is.
Yeah,
Like, and I mentioned like maybe it's him missing meetings or being late to meetings or whatever. So fast forward, McDermott's like, yeah, he missed a team meeting. Now, to me, it's got to be more than just that one instance, unless it's
yeah,
strict in Buffalo. But it's got to be like they've had conversations with him, and he's missing multiple meetings or late to meetings, and just the professionalism isn't there. Because I think one thing people underestimate is the professionalism that comes with being an NFL player. You have to
yeah,
show up to places on time, prepared, ready to go. Like it's really a job, and so
yeah.
he was benched. And so they're saying that they just want to see more from him. Veterans in the locker room are just like, he's got to grow up. What's your take on it?
Oh, So the veterans say he has to grow up.
Yeah, so Deion Dawkins was in the locker room and said, like, look, he's got to grow up, and he knows. He was very nice about it. He was
Oh,
like, look,
so he's doing
he's
some immature things. Okay,
yeah,
so that we can speculate all we want, like, or this missing meetings, or this outbursts. It could be a number of things that a young guy would do. I've seen young guys do some dumb stuff all the time, sleeping in meetings, all kinds of stuff. I mean, that's what they do. And, you don't just walk into a locker room and you're a pro. Like sometimes you have to learn from other pros how to carry yourself. And maybe he's going through that because you can ask one question on how serious this is. Do they need Keon Coleman to win football games? E- Do they?
no, I don't think so.
Yeah. And I think if they felt like they needed him, they would have found another way to overcome this. Because
Yeah,
putting him on the bench, that man, we here to win football games.
yeah,
So coaches tend to be lenient towards certain things. Now, if he felt like it was something that was gonna be a problem, if he let it persist, then I would give him a little bit of grace there. But they want to win games, so whatever he did, ultimately it could be big or small. He's still on the team. They put him on the bench. I mean, hopefully that means something to him,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, and
yeah,
and it gets him on track because he's super talented. So
yeah.
he could help them win games, and ultimately they don't feel like he could, else they would never put him on the bench. Are you kidding me?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And that could be like a symptom. That could be a reason why he even finds himself in this situation because really talented players, if you're in the NFL, you're at the top of the game in the world. So you've been a very talented player for a lot of your life. Some
Yeah.
players don't start playing until their senior year of high school, but for the most part, you've been at the top of the game for most of your life. Keon Coleman might be so good at football from Pee Wee to high school to college that he's gotten away with a lot. And
Oh
so if you're
yeah.
continuing to
There's no doubt.
getting away with things, you kind of feel like you can still get away with that in the NFL, but no one's bigger than the program, right? Like, so I think they kind of
Man,
showed him like
look.
you got to be a professional.
Everybody walks in that door as a superstar from wherever they came from. At least most guys.
Yeah,
And now we're all on the same team. Humble yourself. Like you I think the moment you feel like you're already there, you've made it, is the moment you start losing. You lose
yeah,
your support, you lose games, you lose your ability to play at a high level because you don't have that hunger. And there's so much to learn about being a pro, man. It is so
yeah,
much to learn.
yeah,
And every locker room is slightly different in a sense, and you see that through the team's records. But ultimately it's the same in one way. Like we're all fighting for the same thing. So there's
yeah,
a certain way you got to come in the building, do your work, and then how you take care of yourself outside of the building. Like all that shit matters. So
definitely.
man, there
Yeah.
is there's no wiggle room. Like you either do it the right way
Hmm.
or you get thrown out. I mean, that's just how it works.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. I have to say, from seeing, my son's dad in the NFL for the past 10 years, that's one thing like behind the scenes that I may have been the most surprised about. Because you see the
Right.
guys celebrating and dancing and this and that, but like through the week, it's really a job. And the things that he does, even when he gets back to the house, like he himself scheduling someone to come do
Yeah.
his treatment and then watching film and then his nutrition and making sure he's eating the right things and stretching and like then getting up early in the morning even if like he prioritized time with his family and he was out late, getting up early in the morning before everybody else to leave out, have a whole day of practice and meetings and this and that and cut like day in and day out. It really is way more than you see for those few hours on Sunday.
And it's
And if
so
you don't understand
repetitive.
the professional, it's so repetitive. And even the way that he speaks to his coaches and the way that he treats the people in the facility, like the level of professionalism, I think, again, people don't even really understand the day in and day out,
Yeah.
and leadership and all that kind of stuff. And I
Yeah.
think because he went to a D2 school and wasn't this five-star recruit, when it comes to our son who
He
plays football, and
prioritized that. Yeah.
he does this thing, and of course I'm mommy, right? So I'm like, oh Roman, you're so good. I'm so excited to see you play. You really did that. And my son's dad is like, you were really not that good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I
Always
mean, I'm not
objective.
impressed.
Always
He just be
objective,
like,
pushing.
uh,
Like,
yeah,
no. Yeah,
yeah.
that's mama. That's for moms to do. That's what moms do.
I'm like, you're
Moms,
so good. And Matthew's like, nah, you actually kind of suck. But he
nah.
doesn't. He's really good. So I'm like, why do you say that? Right? Like, I'm like, why do you always tell him he sucks? He's not doing a good job. He's like, oh, I always want him to strive for more. I don't want
Yeah.
him to feel like I made it or I'm the best.
No
He always want him to
complacency.
stay hungry. Like, dang, I
Oh,
thought I
yeah.
did good. Yes. And I'm like, oh, well, So anyway, maybe Keon Coleman has gotten to a point where he feels like he can get away with more. But now he's starting to realize, like, oh, shoot. I got to step up. So I hope he gets it together because, like you said, he could be a very valuable asset to the Bills moving forward. And, you just never want to see this happen in the NFL.
Look, he's their most talented receiver. It ain't even close to me. It's just it's bigger than that. Like you gotta earn trust from your teammates, and whatever way you have to go about doing it, you gotta do it.
Yeah.
And that's really how you work. Like just the way you work and how you carry yourself. You got to build that trust. Again, man, everything is about relationships. I don't care. You cannot avoid it. Like how you make people feel, how you show up, be accountable. It builds strong relationships, what ultimately get you fed. So it is what it is. That's life. That's just life
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah, definitely. So shout out to Keon Coleman. I hope he gets everything together. Next, let's move on to our hot topic. So there have been a incredibly high amount of numbers of backup quarterbacks who have played so far this season due to
Yeah.
injury or a bad play or just them not fitting the system or whatever it is. So just a little rundown of the amount. We've got Jacoby Brissett in for Kyler Murray in Arizona. We have Joe Flacco, who was QB1 for the Browns, but then Dylan Gabriel comes in, gets injured. Now Shedeur's in, but now he's the backup in Cincinnati for a injured Joe Burrow, for Jake Browning, who didn't play well. So that's a lot going on with Flacco. Then Russell Wilson starts the season, gets benched for Jackson Dart. Now Jameis Winston is in. Marcus Mariota is in for injured JD5. Tyrod Taylor is in for Justin Fields. Mason Rudolph is in for an injured Aaron Rodgers. Kirk Cousins is in for an injured Michael Penix. Shedeur is in. We already talked about that. Tyler Shugg is in for Spencer Rattler. Brock Purdy just came back when Mac Jones was in for a while. Cooper Rush and Tyler Huntley were in for Lamar Jackson. So there's been a lot of backup quarterback play and seeing how it could influence a season. What is your take on, because I think for a while we didn't really think about the backup quarterback. Backup quarterback just kind of like collecting dust back there, around for moral support or to gain knowledge or whatever. But it seems like it really is, you have to be keenly aware of who your QB2 are, especially this season, but in this day and age. Like, what do you think about all these backups coming in and the QB2 position today?
Okay, so the QB position has gained so much value in the past few years. It's still rising. And this list of backups proves why it's imperative that you have a good backup. I feel like backups are going to start making the type of money that most starters aren't making. So,
Yeah.
and I'm not talking about the quarterback position because if you're a starting quarterback, man, your leverage is astronomical right now.
Yeah.
There will be four plus quarterbacks drafted in the first round this upcoming draft. I mean, it's gonna happen over and over and over because I feel like the development of the quarterback is still ascending in a way. Like these guys are just coming in more and more prepared than ever before. Like even though Shedeur, for example, had a bad game, I think if you get him ready and ready to go, you surround him with some good players, he's gonna play well. I mean, he looks like a legit quarterback. He's just on a bad team.
Yeah.
And and obviously he wasn't prepared for that game. But but that's but needless to say, man, it is imperative that you have two. Now, the most expensive guy on this list is Kirk Cousins,
Yeah.
who came to Atlanta as a starter, ended up the backup, now the starter gets hurt, Michael Penix, and now he's back as a starter. It's interesting. Like his value just went back through the roof because not now he has to go perform, which he hasn't done in his little bit of time he's played. I want to see him do something. What now he has that starting spot. But again, it just proves you gotta have two. So every team, I understand now why the Falcons draft Michael Penix. Like you got to think Kirk Cousins didn't like that very much last year. So
Right.
understanding all this stuff, man, these quarterbacks are in dire need on every team. Every team needs them. I mean, you watched Geno Smith last night. I'm sitting there like, who's his backup? Because
Yes.
I just got
Actually,
tired of seeing it.
yes.
I got tired, like, man, come
Me
on, like
too.
this is the same player from a few years ago. Like it just wasn't winning football. So when you
Yeah.
don't see that, I'm immediately thinking about who can you replace him with, and I'm sure they're up in the owner's box saying the same thing. So
Yeah.
look, man, you got to have two, period,
Hmm.
and they're gonna pay it because they need it, and they know they can't win games without it. Because your starter gets hurt, man, whew, it can derail your whole season instantly.
Absolutely. Yes, it can. And we see that happening with the Ravens. They're at the bottom of the AFC North, and then Lamar comes back, and now they're crawling their way back, just one game behind the Steelers. And
Yep.
I completely agree. I think because of the how much weight the quarterback position holds in football, you got to have two because you can't
Yeah.
always anticipate injury or whatever might happen. So you got to have a backup to come in and seamlessly run the office, which means, especially with some of these like offensive coordinators, you would want your QB1 and QB2 to more closely mirror each other so that the QB2 can seamlessly come in and pick up where the starting quarterback left off. But yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot of that. But I hate that it happens because of injury because I would love to see these fully healthy teams, but you just never know. And definitely looking for those backup quarterbacks to start making a lot more money.
Oh yeah,
Let's go
without a
to
doubt.
our next segment. Let's go to our next segment, 1v1. Today we are talking about the Bucs and the Rams. Now, speaking of injury, I think the Bucs fully healthy gives most teams in the NFL a run for their money. There's some alternate universe where we get to see Emeka Egbuka, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans on the same field at the same time, which seems like a cheat code. We talk about JSN and Rashid Shaheed and Cooper Cup on the Seahawks and how that seems like a cheat code and just all these other wide receiver duos and trios. But man, that Bucks trio when everybody's healthy, I think is giving anybody a run for their money, even the Rams. But we're not going to see it. So this upcoming game, we have Bucks Rams. When it comes to the Bucks receivers versus the Rams secondary, I think this favors the Rams. I think the Rams defense doesn't get spoken about enough because the offense is so explosive and
Yeah.
impressive. But I'm gonna favor the Rams in this matchup as far as Bucks offense versus Rams defense. What do you think?
Yeah. So it's funny you bring up the Rams defense because I was specifically thinking like they're not doing this just because they got Matt Stafford, right? I mean, I know about their offense, Devontae, Puka. I mean, what's my guy, the running back,
Williams.
Kyron Williams. I mean, a lot of talent, but I want to watch this defense because for some reason they're keeping their offense in games. They're making plays. So I'm gonna specifically watch this game because I haven't been able to really sit down and evaluate their defense. And I'm gonna give you some good insight following up on this next week because I think the Rams could go to the Super Bowl. Like they're sort of built and quietly making noise. I don't think it's quiet no more. I think people
It's
notice them.
not.
Yeah, all their
Yes.
opponents get it, but I think
Yeah.
around the league, everybody want to talk about the Eagles, the Lions, you know, but this AFC West is getting very, very interesting,
Yes.
because even San Francisco, I mean, they got many
Yeah.
reasons to fold. They've had their backup quarterback in, and they still found a way to win. is finding ways to win. So it's gonna be interesting to see. The Bucs need a bounce back game. They went up, played a great game against Buffalo. It's just Buffalo was just they were desperate a little bit.
Yeah.
Bad showing in Miami. I mean, Josh Allen couldn't have a better bounce back game, right? So
Yeah.
6 touchdowns. I mean, it's unreal. That
Yeah.
just doesn't happen these days. So so for me, look, this is going to be one to watch. I mean, I think the
Yeah.
winner is on track to winning the the NFC if somebody can nudge the Eagles out of the way.
Yeah, the Rams are absolutely poised to make a Super Bowl run. And we talk about teams that are in playoff contention, playoff contenders, teams
Yeah.
who might win their division or get a wild card spot. They are more than just a playoff contender. They are real contenders for the Super Bowl. And like you said, it was quiet for a while, but I think now everyone's seeing it. They're not that sneaky Rams team.
Yeah.
Seattle's kind of the same way. Seattle for the past few years has been a sneaky team where they can sneak out wins against really good teams. But everyone's starting to take more notice now. And like you said, the NFC West is shaping up to be a crazy division, even with the 49ers, even dealing with injury. But just the reverse, right? So now let's talk about Bucs secondary and the Rams offense. Again, I think this favors the Rams. I think, they're just so explosive on offense. They have a run game. They have a pass game. They have who, in my opinion, is the MVP of the season, Matthew Stafford. And I just think that matchup also, I can't see a scenario where the Rams lose this game.
Do you see a high scoring game though?
I do see a high scoring game because even if you look at the Bills Bucks game, the Bucks were in the game. Like
Okay.
Josh Allen really carried the team, 3 rushing touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns, and had a phenomenal 44-point showing. But the Bucks were hanging in there as well. So I could see this being a high scoring game for sure. Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna say low scoring, and
Okay.
and I feel like people know the offenses, and now here's the defense got a chance to kind of put themselves out there. So, when people go into games like this thinking high scoring, just because of these quarterbacks, it tends to go the other way, right? I think just think about your point you made with the Chiefs. You expect Mahomes to
Hmm.
go in there and have a great day. Like, come on, man. Like their backs against the wall. They can't dig themselves in a deeper hole.
Yeah.
But the competition is the competition. And the Broncos just has his number. And so you can't expect things to just change. Now, I feel like these defenses are they're more prideful than and more talented than people have seen. You gotta think
Hmm.
the Bucks are gonna be coming in after giving up 40 plus to the Bills the week before.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
emphasis is there. Um, the Rams just had an impressive win. So I think there's a lot of reasons to say this could be a low 20s type game.
I could completely see that. I'm actually going to change my answer. I think this could be a high scoring game for the Rams, especially because just like you said, over the last 2 games, the Bucks have given up 72 points and 850 yards. So the Bucks defense has been struggling as of late. I can see the Rams getting stopped. So I can see this being a high scoring game for the Rams because the Bucks defense has kind of been struggling. But on the other side, like the Rams defense is so good at every level that, I can't really see the Bucks being able to keep up. But
Yeah,
um yeah, yeah,
we'll
I can
see.
completely see what you're saying. We'll
We'll
see.
see.
Either way, again, it'll be the real winner is going to be the fans. Anybody who has the
Okay.
opportunity to watch
So
this is the
I'm
real
assuming you
winner.
got the Rams then. So you got the Rams?
Yes, I have the Rams. Do you
Okay,
have the
okay.
Rams or you have the Bucks?
I got the Bucks in this one.
I like that. Hold
I
on.
got the Bucks.
Okay. I like that. Okay. I want to see Baker Mayfield win. I really, really do. I have mixed opinions about Bowles, about Todd Bowles, like especially just like game management, time management, what he does with the clock, and some just decision making during the game. I think it works against the Bucks. But I want to see Baker win and I want to see this team do very well. But I gotta go Rams.
Yeah,
I
I
gotta go
think I
Rams.
think the Bucks really do miss Bucky Irvin though. Like
Hmm.
they really miss him. Like that's something you can't replace. I mean, they got decent backs now. Right? But
Yeah, they do.
but this guy was special. Like he
Mhm.
was starting to become one of the top backs in the game,
Yeah.
and unfortunately got hurt.
Yeah. Injury definitely has just ravished this team in ways that are just so unfortunate.
Oh
But
yeah, oh yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to my favorite segment, Champs Picks. All right, Champ, what do you have for us today for Champs Picks?
Okay, I was people don't know this, but back in the day, my last year in college, I finished like somewhere between 7 and 10 on the Heisman voting list. Now, I would say I was about 60-40 offense defense or defense offense 60-40. But I was primarily a defender. Like that was just I knew I was gonna go to the league as a defensive back. And that happened the same way with Charles Woodson the year before. He played some offense, but he went to the league as a defensive back. Everybody knew that. Fast forward to Travis Hunter. It was more 50-50 with him, right? Nobody really knew. I say this to
Yeah.
say, and I bring up those two guys because they won the Heisman. And, I think Woodson more than Hunter was primary defense. Travis Hunter, even till he got drafted, people still, even he said he wanted to play both. So, but I think we all did on some level. And we all did play both ways on some level. So I bring that up to say, I feel like when you look at, well, I don't feel like I know, when you look at the top Heisman candidates for this year, it's mainly quarterbacks. And then there's Jeremiah Love, just to, throw in the mix. You talk about the Mendoza guy from Indiana, my guy Ty Simpson in Alabama. Who else? Julian Sayin. Like I say, Jeremiah Love, and then there's a couple more you can sprinkle in there. But I think they need to make it a point to say we could do three quarterback. We can do up to five people, but there has to be one real defender
Hmm.
and another non-quarterback, and
Yeah.
then you can have your three quarterbacks. Because I feel like as we sit here and talk about the importance of quarterbacks earlier and the value going up is through, but I still feel like when you talk about a team and what it takes to win, it it's usually the top defenses that win championships. It's not the top offenses. It's rarely that
Yeah.
way. I would say
Yep.
maybe the best example of that is probably Joe Burrow's year. Like, they were historically great. But without a great defense, and you look at the past 5 or 6 championship teams, their defense is top 5 or top 10. So for me, I don't I don't feel like the defender should just win but I think they need to have the opportunity or the recognition as being a Heisman finalist. Because every year you can think of somebody. Now, who am I thinking of? There's a guy in Texas Tech named Jacob Rodriguez. Unbelievable player. Now, his coach, and I give him a lot of credit, Coach McGuire, he's really good about promoting his players. He put him in at quarterback and let him run the ball, and he scored a touchdown.
Hmm.
So I think he made a point to do that because he saw that only quarterbacks are winning it. So it was almost a stab at it, and it resonated with me because I kind of lived it,
Yeah.
and I saw, fortunate enough, Travis Hunter win it, and then but before that, Woodson won it. I saw Ndamukong Suh get some love, So there's been some love over the years, but not to the level it needs to be.
Yeah.
And you look at the past 20 Heisman winners, 15 of them are quarterbacks. So two non-quarterbacks, three quarterbacks, one of them has to be primary defense. And
Yeah.
that's me off my soapbox.
Now, I love that point, and it's something that I was talking about a lot yesterday. And it's the same in the NFL. It's the same really at every level of football, from Pee Wee, UFL, AFL, CFL, and anything, right? The way that these accolades work, and the way that most, like the casual fan watches the game, they follow the ball. So the people who get the most recognition, the glitz and glam, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. Sometimes you get like cornerbacks or, because they're defending the ball, that type of thing. But most of the time that people follow the ball and
Yeah,
they get the most recognition without even understanding, like, the play starts way before the wide receiver ever touches the ball. Really starts
yeah,
in the trenches. Like, that's really where the game starts before it even touches a wide receiver's hands. So, with that being said, I think the same way that you feel about the Heisman is how I feel about the MVP award in the NFL. It's really a quarterback award, and you'd be hard pressed to
yeah,
find, throughout history, all these players who are non-quarterbacks who are winning this award, which is why some people are like, well, maybe we just need to have a quarterback award and then we like kind of separate it somehow. But I love that idea because, again, it really makes it so that you get the recognition of being a Heisman finalist and you get to go to
yeah,
the award, you get to sit up there and just get that recognition that you deserve, because for it to just solely be a quarterback award, I think does take away from what defenses do and what other people on that team does. And to your point, the Bengals is the perfect example of that. You have this high-powered offense. You make your wide receiver a triple crown, receiver, and all these things, and it means absolutely nothing because your defense can't stop a nosebleed. So
yeah.
defenses still win championships. They still definitely matter, and quarterbacks deserve a lot of love. They touch the ball, they run the offense. But I'm a defensive girl. If you know me, you know that. Like, that's my favorite side of the ball. It always has been. It probably always will be. And I'm always for giving the defense love. That was a really good one, champ. You
Yeah,
ate
yeah,
with
yeah,
that. No
yeah,
crumbs.
yeah.
Yeah, you did that.
Gotcha,
Okay, I
gotcha,
like
gotcha.
that.
My
All right,
pleasure,
let's
my
move
pleasure.
on. Let's move on to our segment predictions. So first we have Vikings Packers division game. You know how I do with these division games. These are usually the ones that I get wrong. Champ, I don't know if
Yeah,
you heard my take on the Packers, but I'm not impressed with the Packers. So far, they have only had 2 games that I'm actually impressed with. They won week 1 against the Lions, and then they had a win against the Steelers. Otherwise, and I know it's not up to them what their schedule are. They're not handpicking their opponents. They play who they play every week. It's not up to them. But like, I'm just waiting for them to do something impressive. And maybe this might be it. No, this won't be it. The Vikings don't look spectacular either. So I'm gonna go Packers, but only because the Vikings aren't that great. What do you think?
Vikings.
Okay,
And for all the
Vikings.
reasons you said, you don't like the Packers right now. I mean, they are not
No,
impressive to me. I
no.
I want them to be good. I think it's good for football, but I gotta go with the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. All right, next is Browns Raiders. Man, defense game, if anything.
Flip a coin. Flip a coin.
Flip a coin, seriously. I mean, Gino just looked so horrible last night. The Raiders looked really, really bad. I'm gonna have to go Browns, but it's just like the lesser of two evils.
Wow. Is this in Vegas? This game in Vegas?
Um, yes.
Oh, it's tough. They both are bad football teams right now. I,
Yeah.
I'm going Raiders.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna go Raiders. I don't even know why. Just- it's a toss up, man.
Okay.
That's a tough one to pick.
So now we have Jags Cardinals. I love the way Jacoby Brissett is coming in a baller. We're going to talk about that in our episode tomorrow about how Jacoby Brissett set an NFL record. So just a preview to that. But I'm going to go Cardinals on this game. But we saw the Jags just do their thing against the Chargers. This one also could go either way. I'm going to go Cardinals. What do you think?
I'm going Cardinals too. Um, why Cardinals? Because the Jags are supposed to beat them, and they don't win games that they're supposed to win.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
They just don't. Like they I don't know. I can't trust the Jags right now. I don't know who
Yeah.
I'm gonna get, who's gonna show up. And like you said, Brissett, he's carrying this offense pretty well. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
ride with them.
Okay, perfect. Picks are in for champ. Check out our My Friday prediction show where I really go through the whole slate and lock my picks in. Let's go to our final segment, College Corner. Champ, what is going on with those Georgia Bulldogs? Talk to us about what's going on in College Corner.
I mean, you should know we just dominated Texas. Um,
Yes, you
and
did.
here, Georgia to me is one of those teams that have gotten better every year. Now, this is my objective mind speaking because, yeah, I could be a little biased about my dogs. But there's a few teams that I feel like have gotten better every week. And I had Bama on that trajectory, but it's really just two that stands out now, and that's Georgia and Ohio State. Feel like they have just gotten better and better and better and better every week. Now they look like two of the top teams in the country. Because I don't want to sleep on Texas Tech. Their defense is legit. I don't want to sleep on Texas A&M because that comeback against South Carolina was impressive. So I think for what it's worth, up to that point, Georgia was the only team that really showed promise in the fourth quarter, like that grit that you need to get yourself out of a hole. They did it again against Texas. Even they didn't even need to, but they scored 21 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That's impressive, you know, in a game that was close up to that point. And then Texas A&M. I mean, they were down 30-3. 28
Yep.
unanswered points to win. I mean, it doesn't get any more impressive than that. So I hate that they're so battle tested now because now that scares me, for my dogs. But at the same time, man, there's a few teams getting better, and Georgia, Ohio State tops the list. Texas A&M, man, looking good. So, but the last few weeks will tell the tale.
Yeah.
We got championship games, 2 more weeks in the season, and 2 games that Georgia should win. So let's see where it goes. But ultimately, look like we're going to be playing Texas A&M if we make it to this SEC championship game. But it's to be seen. A lot of football still left.
A lot of football still left. We're definitely going to be rooting for those Georgia Bulldogs for sure. My Michigan Wolverines come to Maryland and they play the Maryland Terps this weekend. After that, we've got the one and only, probably one of the best rivalries in sports. We got Michigan versus Ohio State. So I'm thinking maybe we'll have Maurice Clarett on the show that week, just so that we can have a little back and forth. He's like, the Ohio State representative. He's damn
Oh,
near the Buckeye. Like, he is the Buckeye mascot. That's Maurice
that's
Clarett.
him. That's
So
him.
we might have him on the show that week. See if he wants to join Champ and I to talk a
He
little bit more
better.
college. Yeah, see if he wants to come through and have that crossover. Yeah, I appreciate that, Champ. It was great having you back this week. It was great being back on Tuesday. We will see you tomorrow with Coach George, where we talk more Colorado football. We're going to get in them trenches for real. That's all the time that we have for today. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.